Facebook and Zoom are finally ready to go. So let's begin our service. If you wish to follow along, you can scan the QR code on the screen to download the order of service. And I believe the folks on Zoom will see that link in their chat. And you can follow along with an order of service. Thank you for that. So welcome. Welcome to our multi-platform, in-person and loved stream service of the River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation, where we have gathered both in person here in this room together and online through Zoom and Facebook Live. Hello? In order to keep us all connected, comfortable, and safe as the COVID-19 pandemic transitions to endemic status. Here we are, still together, continuing to go and grow and flow the river way. I'm Gary Gonzalez, and my pronouns are he and him. You, here in this room, we welcome you. You on Zoom and Facebook Live, we welcome you. However you made your way among us this morning, we welcome you. Let us pause and enter into this time together as we reconnect with one another, with the holy by any name, and with the light of love within us all. While we remain mindful that not everyone can breathe easy, nor find it easy to breathe, let us breathe into full awareness of this moment we share together. Thank you. That felt especially important this morning. In our enduring search for truth, meaning, and faith, here at River of Grass, it is our mission to nurture our spirits, love intentionally, and to create a just and healthy planet. Here we share the affirmation that we are called to be agents of love and justice and to build a world where everyone is cherished for who they are.
This morning we return to our explorations of climate justice on Earth Day. 8 weeks ago, during our service, we had some group time where we discussed things that we could do to side with love for our planet Earth home. We return to those things this morning to see how we're doing and to inspire one another to further action. And so this morning, in light of the idea that community action is resistance, in this month, we are exploring what resistance means. We welcome again this reading by the Unitarian poet E.E. Cummings, Most Amazing Day. I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and the blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today. And this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings and of the gay, great, happening, illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any lifted from the know of all nothing humanness merely being, doubt in unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears are awake, and the eyes of my eyes are open. Let us rise in body or spirit to sing our theme hymn for this month, One More Step.
One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone. We'll take one more step, one more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word, one more prayer. We will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer. Here we go. One more song. We will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
You may be seated, yeah.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, a beacon of religious liberty shining through generations, now ours to hold high. As we light our chalice together this morning, please give your voice to these words.
We light this flame
Today,
for the love of earth, that we may weave our lives with all living things, that we may sow seeds of tender and harvests of joy.
In the light of love, let us renew our covenant as we say together, love is the spirit of this congregation,
This
and
is our
service
great
is its law.
law.
This is our great
Covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and love one another.
El amor es el espíritu de esta congregación y el servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente.
to deepen our time together, let us sing Circle Round for Freedom, Circle Round for Peace. For the children of our children, circle for release. You may remain seated for this, to take this in to your spirit in any way that you can. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
In our community each week, we share pieces of our lives. This, too, takes a new form for our new normal. Kind of seems like our normal at this point. We take a moment here with people who love us for exactly who we are, where we are, right now. Here in the room, I will share from this book, which sits here before service, and you're welcome to come up and write a joy, concern in the book before service starts. And for those of you on Zoom and would like to express a joy or concern, you can do so in the chat. We'll open that up now, and you can put your thoughts there, and we'll read them from there as well. As William James wrote, "We are like islands in the sea, separate on the surface but connected in the deep." Let us share a moment of silent reflection, connecting us to all who are in need.
Source of all, we call by so many names, none of which we can fully know nor understand. We come this morning entrusted with these things within our community. We ask that we see hearts as well as allow our own hearts to be seen, for we know there are things written and unwritten, spoken and unspoken, shared here among us. And it is the power of community that we lighten one another's burdens by sharing and amplify one another's joys by sharing. There's so much happening in the world of which we are aware and concerned. We know there are those among us who have suffered from these floodwaters, and we ask that we be at the ready to do what needs to be done to support them and to support those also outside of these walls and not necessarily part of this community of River of Grass, but part of our human family. For we know that who is our neighbor is answered by all people. We also come with heavy hearts for the actions happening here in Florida that deny women health care and deny our LGBTQ folk, and especially our trans folk, their freedoms, especially our trans kids at risk. May we be living our values and our principles out loud and in public. There is action happening. May we join in it. We realize that things happen in cycles. And this cycle calls upon us to once again proclaim love wins and make it so. We lift all these things in the name of all that is holy. Amen, amen, amin, aho, ashe, namaste, blessed be. And so it is. One of the things we love to do is show gratitude to the folks around here who make this place go and grow and flow, come what may, when it's joyful, happy times and when it's tough times. Y'all come through. When the sound's working just like we like it, and when there's a ghost in the machine that's determined to challenge everything we think we know, we are yet here and yet persevere. And so this morning, I would like to thank all of the people that make it possible for us to gather here this morning. It is 16 human beings who come here on a Sunday morning, who set it all up, make it all happen, and then take it all down and take it all home so that we can be together. So all of the folks that have a hand in making our Sunday services happen, we love you. We thank you for all that you do to make it possible again and again and again. No ghost in the machine can change how much we love you. Are y'all ready? This is a great room to do this in. You didn't have to do what you did, what you did, what you did. And we thank you. You didn't have to do what you did, what you did, what you did. And we thank you. Woo! It's offering time.
We sustain and strengthen this beloved community and its work in our world through the gifts of our time, our skills, our love, and our money. Yes, indeed. I feel like just preaching right now because of the background music I'm hearing. Can I hear an amen? Each Sunday, half of our undesignated offerings go to LifeNet for Families, which provides meals, clothing, and support for those in need here in Broward County. The other half supports our mission and ministry at River of Grass. And this is where I say, ushers, please come forward to receive the offering. You can scan the QR code or text the number on the screen to donate. You can also find several ways to give on the donate page on our website at riverofgrass.org. generous gifts.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the end of the annual pledge drive. I never thought it would happen, but it did. I want to thank you, Leanna and I. She is away still. We thank you so much for your generosity, your thoughtful gifts to River of Grass, and how we'll move forward for this year. So we end this pledge drive with 66 pledging units who gave us 93% of our goal at $204,000. Cecilia? And I want you to know, just because this campaign is over doesn't mean you cannot continue to give to this pledge drive. Do so online and make sure you say it's for the pledge drive, or on a check, make sure you say it's a pledge. You can join anytime. We love to accept whatever you give to the river. Thank you so much.
This morning we are so grateful to have our choir with us singing a piece by one of many of our favorites. Many of us have a favorite author in the name of Gordon Sumner, also known as Sting. This is one of our favorite pieces. The arrangement was written by Aaron Stang, and our choir is going to give it voice this morning.
Blood will flow when flesh and steel are one, drying in the color of the evening sun. Tomorrow's rain will wash the stains away. Something in our minds will always stay. Perhaps the spinal act was meant to pinch a lifetime's argument. Nothing comes from violence, and nothing ever could. For all those born beneath an angry star, lest we forget how fragile we are. On and on the rain will fall, like tears from a star, like tears from a star. On and on the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we are. Perhaps the spinal act was meant to clinch a lifetime's argument. Nothing comes from violence, and nothing ever could. For all those born beneath an angry star, lest we forget how fragile we are. On and on the rain will fall, like tears from a star, like tears from a star. On and on the rain will say
Wow. That was awesome. So, did anybody get any chocolate for Easter? Yes. Did you? Yeah? And I saw you sneaking some earlier. Shh. It's okay. So, you might have heard that you can't have chocolate without beans. Have you heard that? Oh, you haven't heard that? Oh, you're in for a treat. So, they're called cocoa beans. Did you know that there is a huge interdependent web of critters and people who work to take those cocoa beans and turn them into your chocolate? Turn them into chocolate bunny ears? Let's start with the cocoa beans. Your pictures are up on the screen today. So cocoa beans are the seeds of the cocoa tree. And cocoa trees grow naturally in the tropical rainforests of Central and South America, but today, farmers grow them in other tropical areas too. To make chocolate, workers spread cocoa beans with rakes and dry them in the sun. Then they roast them in a giant oven. Later, machines smash the beans into a thick paste and squeeze out the liquid to make cocoa powder. It gets mixed with a variety of ingredients to make different kinds of chocolate. But cocoa beans can't develop without cocoa pods. The cocoa pods are the fruit of the cocoa tree. They look like small lumpy footballs growing on the tree's trunk and main branches. Inside each pod, white gooey pulp surrounds 30 to 40 cocoa beans, just enough for one candy bar. Cocoa pods can't form without cocoa flowers. When pollen from one cocoa flower lands on another cocoa flower, a tiny tube opens up inside the blossom. Pollen travels down the tube. As soon as material inside the pollen combines with material deep inside the flower, a new cocoa pod begins to grow with seeds inside. And there's midges. Before a female midge can lay her eggs, the little insect needs a hearty meal of rich, nutritious cocoa pollen. To find food, she crawls deep inside a cocoa blossom. As the midge climbs out, pollen sticks to her body. When she lands on another cocoa flower, some of the pollen falls off and lands inside the blossom. The cocoa flowers can't bloom without cocoa leaves. As the cocoa leaves soak up sunlight, they make sugar. The sugar travels through veins in each leaf to the tree's branches. Then sugary sap flows through the trunk to the rest of the tree. That's how a tree gets the energy it needs to live and grow and make flowers. And there's maggots. As soon as leafcutter ants spot tender new leaves on a cocoa tree, the little insects race to reach them. While the hardworking ants slice up the leaves and carry the pieces back to their nest, female coffin flies land on the ants and lay eggs inside their heads. When the eggs hatch, tiny maggots wriggle out and eat the ants' brains. It gets better. Cocoa leaves can't survive without cocoa stems. A cocoa tree's trunk is a thick central stem made of wood. Its branches are smaller woody stems. The tree's smallest stems connect leaves to branches. All these stems transport minerals and water from the tree's roots to its leaves. The leaves need the minerals to grow. They use the water to make sugary food for the whole tree. And there's lizards. Aphids are little insects that jab holes in a cocoa tree's soft green stems and suck up the sugary juices inside, but a hungry animal is nearby. The little lizard skitters along the tree's branches, eating aphids and other insects, protecting your chocolate tree. Cocoa stems can't grow without cocoa roots. A cocoa tree's roots suck up water from the soil, and they also absorb minerals such as calcium and iron. The stems and the rest of the tree need these mineral materials to live and grow. Roots also hold the cocoa tree in place. And fungi. Fungi live in rainforest soil. As they grow, tiny root-like threads called hyphae spread out in every direction. When hyphae bump into a dead plant or animal, they release chemicals that break it down. Then they absorb the rotting bits and digest the minerals the fungus needs to live and grow. The extra minerals pass out of the hyphae into the soil, where they can be absorbed by the roots of nearby cocoa trees. Cocoa pods, flowers, leaves, stems, and roots can't grow without cocoa beans. If a cocoa bean lands in just the right place, a tiny root pushes down into the soil, then a slender shoot stretches up toward the sky. As time passes, the little seedling grows into a tree. When it's about 5 years old, the cocoa tree begins producing flowers and fruit. Some cocoa trees live up to 60 years. And monkeys. Monkeys yank pods of cocoa trees, gnaw holes in the fruit, and pull out the sticky insides. As the monkeys travel through the rainforest, they suck on the lemony lime pulp and spit out the beans. Cocoa pods never fall off cocoa trees. If monkeys and a few other animals didn't scatter cocoa beans on the ground, new cocoa trees couldn't grow. You're making the connection now, right? No monkeys, no chocolate. So, we need cocoa trees and people and cocoa flowers and midges and cocoa leaves and sunshine and water and maggots and cocoa branches and lizards and cocoa roots and fungi and monkeys, all who need a rainforest to live in. That's why many chocolate companies are changing their company practices to be in partnership with the Rainforest Alliance. That's their symbol. So you'll also see that symbol on this particular bag of chocolate. See that right there? That's a little frog. You're getting distracted by the image of chocolate. You can't even see that little frog. All right, so the Rainforest Alliance is an organization working to make responsible business the new normal. They're building an alliance to protect forests, improve the livelihood of farmers and forest communities, promote their human rights, and help them manage the impacts of climate change. But wait, we forgot one important element in that interdependent web. Us. People who buy chocolate. If we want to be part of protecting rainforests and improving the lives of farmers, we need to look for this little frog when we buy our chocolate. Now, there's lots of symbols you'll find on your chocolate, maybe, sometimes. Some of those symbols tell us that these chocolate companies are doing particular things to help. Maybe they're helping people. Maybe they're making sure, maybe they're using organic materials in their production. There's lots of different kinds of symbols. This one in particular is the one that tells us that they are working to help protect the rainforest. This seal means the company who made the chocolate is doing its part, and we are happy to support that. So our baskets today are filled with chocolate that has that seal. Would you like some? Yes. Okay. So take both baskets. One of you start in the front, one in the back. In our baskets today, not only is there delicious chocolate, but also there's some little monkey keychains and a little monkey, barrel of monkey. You need all of that. One of each. One chocolate, please. Yes. You're missing one. Yes. Thank you. Oh, yes.
Everybody got a piece of chocolate? Everybody got a little monkey keychain? Everybody got a little Barrel of Monkeys monkey? Who still needs? They got their chocolate. Do you have your... Now, no fair eating your chocolate and then going, I need chocolate.
I don't have any chocolate.
My message says, your vibe attracts your tribe.
All right, everybody got your keychain? You know why? Not yet? Where's your keychain? Oh no. No keychains? Are we out of them or do we need more? We got more? Do we have more key? Do I need to open the other bag, Karen? No? Who else needs? Ken needs back there? Oh, what do you need?
Keychain.
Keychain. Let me get one. More keychains? Okay. Everybody got a knife? You know, we are having a technical difficulty morning. Yes, it does. It looks like chocolate. Who needs monkey keychain? Monkey keychain, monkey keychain. So, you got the chocolate because the message. Everybody got a message in their chocolate, right? You got the monkey keychain that also kind of looks like chocolate to clip onto whatever you got, your purse, your briefcase, your key ring, your backpack, to remind you every day that you are what makes life sweet. Now, as for the Barrel of Monkeys monkey, you'll find out about that in a minute. So, during a discussion recently on climate change, people were tossing around ideas and strategies and statistics and plans and all kinds of action items. And after a while, there was a pause, there was a lull in the group. And into that pause, someone in the group said, but does it really matter though? What we do, us good folk doing small things, when about a third of Americans don't even think climate change is real? So all this good work, can it ever overcome their apathy and the greed of those systems and those corporate powers that take advantage of that apathy and of lack of education? Is this really going to matter? Okay, let's be honest. More than likely, at some point or another, in this enterprise of addressing climate crisis that surrounds us right now, at some point, more than likely, a lot of us in this very room have had similar thoughts. And it's this dangerous moment of feeling hopeless and helpless that too often keeps us from making the kind of difference we can and making the choices and the changes that we need to address this climate crisis that's around us. Now, here's the thing though. Climate despair is a real problem. It's a chronic problem among Americans. We know that 2/3 of Americans struggle with something called climate anxiety. And then when you talk about young people and children, that number jumps to 84%, who are wondering if we could turn this around at all with their generations coming up. The Handbook of Climate Psychology defines climate anxiety as a heightened emotional, mental, or somatic, that means in the body, somatic distress in response to dangerous changes in the climate system. Climate anxiety can lead to symptoms such as panic attacks, loss of appetite, irritability, weakness, and sleeplessness. And after the week we've had with this weather, it's acute right now. Now, we also know that one response to chronic anxiety is denial. And climate denial, or pretending that what's happening is not happening, is especially potent because it arises out of the overwhelming nature, planet-wide problem that we see, and then is exacerbated by, we'll be frank, right-wing ideological media campaigns designed to heighten that denial and render action impossible. And then, like denial, despair also leads to inaction, not because we don't understand the magnitude of the problem, but because we do. We get stuck in this sense that it's just too big, and therefore the catastrophe is inevitable, so let's eat chocolate and head on out. And then there's the enemy of action called confusion, which comes from a combination of the contradictory information that we get, competition for our attention, like, the reality of our daily lives, of jobs and families and healthcare and our social lives and wrangling money. All of those get confusing messages combined with the very deliberate confusion that is sown by the powers that need us to give up, to sustain their power and their money, like big oil. So now, thanks to climate anxiety, despair, denial, and confusion, we have a whole lot of people who feel like they can't see a way out. So what's the antidote? What do we do when the world is ending? Author and activist Rebecca Solnit asks in her new book entitled Not Too Late, Changing the Climate Story from Despair to Possibility. What do we do when the world is ending? The same things that so many of the giants on whose shoulders we stand did when their worlds were ending. We choose to face our despair, to move toward it, to move through it, to choose to take action, to choose to build movements, to join in community. We do it because we don't know how it ends. because there are possibilities that we simply can't see from here. There are possibilities we simply can't see from here. So you remember last week we talked about the philosopher Viktor Frankl and his notion of tragic optimism. That is to respond with action and joy and hope despite what's going on. Climate crisis asks that of us. To realize that we are neither hopeless nor helpless if we put the power of community to work. And here are the steps according to Climate 350 organizer and activist Anthony Signorelli. First, we see the problem clearly. We already have the science, and the science says it's carbon. And it's been saying it for generations. Second, we use the solutions we already have. We already have renewable energy that individuals and businesses and communities can adopt right now. And then third, we keep developing new solutions as we learn what works best. And then fourth, we look at the larger scale of the political and social landscape to address the infrastructure that can make these solutions happen. We keep the big picture in sight. This is how climate optimism leads to better action, both personally and even more at the level of the power of community, because we are always stronger together. And the powers that be will always seek to divide us, because they know if we all got together and we all got focused and we were determined to make it happen, we are unstoppable. So they like to sow division among us, division and confusion, to keep us from taking action. They also like for us to think it can't be done because our power grid is just too old to handle it. There's a whole lot of jobs in updating our power grid so that renewable energy could be available across this country. But there hasn't been the political will to do it. And you know how we create political will? We create political will. We take action, we vote, we look at the larger picture while we look at what we as individuals and as a community our own size can do to make change. Ask the people who are underwater today whether climate change is real and whether we need to be moving way faster than we are. So we see the problems clearly, we use the solutions we already have, we develop new solutions as we keep going, and we keep the big picture in sight. This is how climate change, this is how climate optimism leads to the better action as individuals and as communities. So that's exactly what we did 8 weeks ago. When we were siding with love for the sake of our planet and we talked about climate justice, we divided up into groups and talked about some things that we can do. From the micro, right here in my own house and my own yard, to the macro, what we can do along the political and social landscape to create this change. We gathered together and talked about what we could do. This morning, we've asked some of the folks who led those groups to come tell us what they learned and what they've been doing and what they ask us to do to side with love for our planet. We'd like for them to tell you what they've been doing. And then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
So our little waste reduction group was really motivated to try new things and take stock of where plastic and other waste shows up in our homes. To quote Linda Crane, I was appalled by how much plastic is still evident in my house. She's taking strides to reduce that, but she is keeping her plastic flamingos. Since many of our municipalities are doing away with recycling and just learning how the recycling we thought we were doing wasn't actually being recycled, we felt that in our group, we felt it was most important than ever to reduce what we bring into our house, reduce our single use or convenience items that are now just being thrown away because for many of us there isn't even recycling. It probably doesn't surprise you to learn that the United States is responsible for more plastic trash than any country in the world, about 300 pounds of plastic trash per person. It took us a while to get to a place where we've been convinced to buy so many things in plastic, and we know we may not be able to eliminate it from our lives altogether, and that may not be wise. But here are some of the things this group has taken on in an effort to reduce our waste in the past few weeks. We hope it will inspire you to do some of the same. Some of us are using bar soap instead of body wash containers and using laundry wash sheets instead of liquid detergent. I tried a wooden toothbrush, which definitely took some getting used to. I'm giving up spreadable tub butter and returning to using sticks. Mini yogurt containers are also no longer welcome in my home, just as Jell-O snack packs and Lister mints are no longer welcome in Bev's. Gary and I try to keep extra containers from showing up in our kitchen by keeping our own containers in the car for restaurant leftovers. Bev and I are also using compostable bags in our homes, and I've learned that all that cotton in my medicine and supplement bottles can go into my compost bin instead of piling up for a rainy day or being thrown away. Pam and I are using online thrift stores to sell and buy used clothes. Thrift shopping is good for the environment because it keeps clothes out of landfills, reduces carbon and chemical pollution caused by clothing production, and lowers water consumption. Ask us later about ThreadUp. And we also purchase our cleaning supplies, including those washing sheets, from a company called Grove Collaborative, where I've also bought glass bottles for our cleaning supplies too. We may not save the world overnight, but picking up new habits and becoming more self-aware has helped us to feel like we are making a small difference. Have you taken stock of your stuff lately? I bet there's some small changes you can make too.
Hi there. Our group was looking at ways to grocery shop with sustainable practices in mind. And you know, some of these things seem so simple, but if you look even more closely, you'll find that there are more things you can do. Shop local. Florida grows a lot of local produce. When I was a child, it was called the Green Grocer. I shop for produce at Brothers Local Produce Market on Hiatus and Oakland Park Boulevard. If you can't get to a farmer's market, they're open every day, and they sell only local produce. Their herb selection is fabulous. They're wonderful people. Bring your reusable shopping bags. And I learned a lot of that shopping at Aldi, who doesn't provide anything. You have to bring your own packaging. But also the thing I found, when you're going to purchase waste bags to clean up after your pets, you actually can find these bags that are made from corn. So to Google it, and you'll be able to actually sustain more with your pet handling as well. Choose fresh foods rather than frozen or canned. They're better for you, and when they're in season, you'll be supporting the local farmers. Look for the seasonal produce that are cheaper and offer you much more variety in your everyday recipes. There's spring, celery, cabbage, carrots, limes, lemons, avocados. Summer for apples, blueberries, plums, okra, garlic, cucumbers, watermelon. Fall for ginger, grapes, spinach, mangoes. I guess mangoes here come in July and August. So you have to know where you're sitting in the geographical area to know what all of these fruits are most available. And then, of course, in winter, we've got turnips and kale, beets, oranges, grapefruit, pumpkins, pears, so on. Know your sources. Many of the fruits that come into the public supermarket come from Chile, or that absorb a lot of energy to get here. Think very carefully about what you buy. If you're not going to buy that produce from Chile, you're going to prevent that Publix from having them as opportunities. So we as consumers really can challenge the people that we do business with by not purchasing what they're providing for us. So know your sources, and if you don't, research them. Also, you want to be sure that you're buying your meat when you do from ethical sources. And there are a lot of ethical farmers here who are raising livestock, chicken, beef, excuse me. And know those sources. You can look them up online and find farms that work within the parameters of careful planning for the animals that are available to us. And then the final is opt for the ugly produce. Not everything is pretty, but they taste the same and they offer you the same amount of good nutrients. So in the back of the Brothers supermarket, they have an ugly produce rack. So I go there and find what I need. So think about all of these things, and there are many more. There is a website called Ocean 4, and you'll find under that category many more ways that you can think about how to save the planet. Thanks.
I'm Steve Jens-Rockow, reporting for the Reducing Energy Group. We study the low-carbon diet. Now, this is a 6-week course, and I reduced it down to one single page of things you can do. Right, we did it 20 years ago at Rivergrass as a 6-week thing, and we had great enthusiasm. Anyway, I distilled it down to one sheet of simple things you can do to reduce carbon and the amount in pounds of carbon that saves. It also has some more complex things, which I'll go into later on. We had fairly good response from our team, and I'd like to thank Sheila Klein, Sergio and Lillian Bustos, Britt and Maureen Lundell, of course Kathy and me, and also Barbara Ratchford. Together, we saved 74,000 pounds in carbon that we've done in recent actions, and we also plan to save 18,000 pounds of carbon with future actions. Now, the 3 most important actions you can do are, number 1, switch your electricity to renewable power, solar or wind. If you put solar panels on your roof, and that would save 25,000 pounds of carbon per year, which is quite an important amount. Number 2 is to switch to an electric vehicle. A few of you have done that. Number 3 is to switch from a gas-powered car getting 25 miles an hour, to one getting 50 miles per gallon, such as a hybrid. Now, a few people in the group didn't respond. That's a concern. This is similar to a larger concern we have. This is, I guess they feel a lack of urgency. This is something not happening right now to them, and it's true of most of the world, this apathy. So the big question, our big challenge, is how can we turn climate despair into climate action? And part of it, I think, is looking to our youth, our children, our grandchildren, because they will be much more affected than we are. Now, the climate reduction plan is there on the table in the back. You can pick it up during the committee fair, and I'll also send it out to the congregation.
Let's show our climate group some love. So, when I got this book specifically to study up for this service. And because I have young adults in my family who are in climate despair. And we needed to look at some strategies to help get them through that and get us acting through that, get us moving. So when I got this, it was just published, I pre-ordered it, it landed Tuesday of this week, landed on my doorstep. So sometimes I like to just flip a book and see where it opens, especially when the first encounter. So when I first got this, I got it out of the packaging and I slipped, and it was recyclable packaging, and was happy about that. I would expect no less of these authors. I picked it up and I just flipped it open to see where it stopped. This is where it stopped. Rather than pretend we know how it all ends, we should do the things we know have worked before. Nurture and join powerful social movements, build institutions that provide people with a vehicle for belonging, meaning, and the long-term struggle. This requires good strategy, healthy groups to do it, and a movement with a culture open and creative and compelling enough to win over the numbers of people necessary for the real transformation. And let us remember this. James Baldwin said, "Wherever human beings are, we at least have a chance." Because we're not only disasters, we are also miracles. And so, my River of Grass miracles, now comes the time for us to play a game of Barrel of Monkeys. The River of Grass way. Okay, so y'all remember how Barrel of Monkeys goes? You know, you start with one monkey and then you connect it to another monkey, and then you're taking a picture. I can see you do. you get a monkey, you connect it to another monkey, you connect it to another monkey, you connect until you got a long chain, right? And the only way you lose the game, you break the connection. All right? So, folks at home, you're going to act like a barrel of monkeys. All right? So pull your hands into the screen like this so that you can see one another, and you connect there at the edges of your screen, right? Because this is how we stay connected. This is why we have us in this place. Here in the room, we're going to play some music. And as we play the music, you're going to move around in whatever way you need to see how long a Barrel of Monkeys chain we can make with River of Grass. Who needs a... Just the plastic monkeys, not the keychains. Just the plastic monkeys. All right, this is a giant Barrel of Monkeys game as we connect ourselves together, okay? So move around as you need to, and we're going to play some music while you do that, and it's going to be some happy chaos. Let's go!
Here we come, walking down the street. We get the funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We go wherever we want to do what we like to do. We don't have time to get restless, there's always something new. Hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We're just trying to be friendly, come and watch us sing and play. We're the young generation, and we've got something to say. Oh. look over your shoulder. Guess who'll be standing there? Hey, hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around. But we're too busy singing to put anybody down.
All right, take a look around. Look at all our connections. Look at all our connections. This is how we do it. In closing, oh, look at you, yay! The activist, the 20th century activist and journalist Dorothy Day says this: people say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. And we at River of Grass, we have a lot of opportunities before us. You're going to see it in our service fair for all our committees and teams after the service. We would like to close our Earth Day celebration with one of our favorite things. We're going to sing together Blue Boat Home. Please rise in body or in spirit. Still my dry land heart can say sing that last word together. Please be seated as we learn how we can live out our faith in the coming days. You have to stand there for the rest of the day.
There's one more to add. One more to add. Okay, so now for something completely different. At River of Grass, we offer many ways to live our Unitarian Universalist faith in action. You'll find them in our weekly email that comes out every Thursday, our Facebook page, and our website, riverofgrassuu.org. Here are some upcoming opportunities to fulfill the mission and vision of this congregation and some other announcements for the life of this beloved community. So you can sign up to help pack boxes at LifeNet for Families on Saturday, April 22nd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Oh. Okay. It's April 29th. Thank you. Then you can come to a volunteer appreciation dinner from 5 to 8 p.m. I'm assuming it's also the 29th.
No, the dinner's the 22nd.
I'm sorry?
The dinner's the 22nd and packing is the 29th. They decide to do both on that day.
Oh, okay. All right, so just to be clear, the volunteer appreciation dinner from 5 to 8 p.m. is on the 22nd of April, and the opportunity to pack boxes for LifeNet for Families is on the 29th of April from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you have ever volunteered with LifeNet, this dinner is for you. See Linda Morgan Crane or Steve Jens Rokow for more information. The Sunshine Cluster will present an exciting workshop on trans issues on Saturday, May 20th at 1 p.m. The Sunshine Cluster is the kind of regional UU group here in South Florida. Two speakers from Equality Florida will be discussing transgender life through trans eyes and then give a current legislative update. To register, you can email Kathy Jens Rokow at seuucluster@gmail.com. And you can get a Zoom link for that workshop. Today, after service, please attend the service fair, indicating all the ways volunteers make things happen at River of Grass, and also perhaps providing you an opportunity to join. Tables are set up, and there are folks who can explain just what their committee or team does. If you're not involved as a volunteer, you can find a place that suits you best. And the second helping after service today will be a congregational picnic. So grab your bag lunch and join us on the patio. All ages welcome. And I just want to mention, as the music ministry team leader, you can just come talk to me directly if you have anything you think you can contribute to our music program. I say that because I didn't set up anything. I had way too many things to do this morning. Anyway, so peruse the back of the room after service. Thank you.
Chocolate monkey ears. Remember, when you run across that little keychain, you're the ones that make it sweet. Never forget that. Never forget that. As we depart this place, we will hold before our eyes the vision of a world transformed and dare to transform ourselves to make it so. Until we meet again, shine on.